Hello mga mahal, welcome back to my learning channel. This is one of tutorials where you can level up your math skills with me, Miss B. So hello, nagpabalik po ako ulit after a long break. At meron na po tayo ulit bagong topic. At malalaman natin later. So if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. At i-click nyo na rin ang may huwagang bell button para lagi kayong updated sa latest videos ko. Okay, so ang ating topic for today ay permutations. Tayo po ay nasa third quarter na at nandito na tayo sa week 1. So, first week lang po. And kung mapapansin nyo pala ako ay naka-mask at alam nyo naman, tumataas ang cases pa rin. Kaya dapat lagi pa rin tayo naka-mask. Okay? Safety first. Alright, so what are our objectives for this week? Bali, meron tayong dalawang objectives. We have the first one is illustrates permutations of objects and solve problems involving permutations. So, ang gagawin po natin ay malalaman natin kung tungkol saan ang permutation, paano siyang ina-apply sa daily life. So, syempre, may daily application yan. And how to solve problems using or involving permutations. Okay? So, check ko lang kung nagre-record pa rin. Kasi may tendency siya na mawala siya pag re-record. Anyway, moving on. So, what are permutations? Meron akong dalawang activity dito na nakaprepare para mas maintindihan nyo kung ano bang nangyayari sa permutation. So, the first one is, say that I have 3 tops and 4 skirts. O, diba? So, sino ba naman ang hindi nahihirapang mag-isip ko anong isusuot sa umaga? Diba? So, siguro, kayong mga students, medyo hindi nyo na siya struggle kasi hindi mo kayo pupasok. But, if you have lakad, diba? So, you have to mix and match your clothes. So, let's try to do that. So, meron ako ditong emoji, yung aking Bitmoji self, ang aking avatar. And I have 3 tops and 4 skirts. So, paano pa natin gagawin ito pag mix and match na ito? Diba, pipili ka muna ng isang top, tapos, ima-match mo siya with the 4 skirts. Okay, so, automatic ilang looks na kagad yan. We have 4 looks already. And then, you move on to your second. And then, you're gonna mix it and match it with the 4 skirts. So, you have another 4 looks. And then, of course, you have your last top, si peach top, na imi-mix and match din natin with the 4 skirts. And that will give you another 4 looks. So, ano gagawin natin dyan sa apat-apat-apat yan? So, ano yung total nating number of looks? We have 12 looks. Ano ba? You have 3 tops and 4 skirts. You get 12 looks. Okay? So, now, I have another activity which is tungkol naman sa pagkain. O, diba? Dahil utak pagkain tayo. Kailangan natin yan. Alright. So, say that there are 5 types of burgers, 3 types of drinks, and 4 types of desserts. How many possible combo meals can we make? So, kunwari, restaurant tayo at gagawa tayo ng mga combo meals. So, ang gagawin natin dito, for this example, yung tinatawag natin na permutation tree. So, ano ang magiging mangyayari dito sa permutation tree? So, first, ganito yan. Meron tayong 5 burger, di ba? So, tawagin natin silang CB1, CB2, CB3, CB4, at saka CB5. Okay? So, we have 5 burgers. Tapos, ilan yung drinks natin? 3. So, for each burger, gagawa tayo ng 3 branches. Kasi 3 yung drinks natin. Tama? So, yan yung first 3 branches natin. So, CD1, CD2, at saka CD3. So, we're gonna do that for all of that. Pero, for the sake of time, hindi ko na siya papakita. And then, for the last part, we have 4 types of desserts. So, for every drink, diba? Meron kang B1, may D1 ka. For every drink dito, gagawa ka ulit ng branches. At ilang branches naman yung gagawin natin? 4. Kasi there are 4 desserts. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, meron kang, dessert. D rin pala yun, ano? So, isipin na lang natin, DE. DE1, DE2, DE3, at DE4. Now, imagine, if you're gonna do that for the entire thing, how many possible combinations do you have? So, pwede nyo gawin dito is, just look at one, Tapos you multiply it by 5 kasi there are 5 burgers. Diba? So, ilan muna yung possible combinations for burger 1 alone? So, for burger 1, we have B1, D1, dessert 1. Teka, baguhin natin yung kulay ng pen. Parang saya. So, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Tapos, that's only for drink 1. So, kung may 4 kay drink 1, may 4 din siguro kay drink 2, at may 4 kay drink 3. So, that's a total of 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12. So, for burger 1 alone, mayroon tayong 12 combo meals. We have 5 burgers. So, is it safe to assume that 12 din yung mga yan? Yes. So, mayroon kang 12, may 12, may 12, at may 12. So, it's essentially 12 times 5. You have a total of 60 combo meals. Diba? Sakit sa ulo gumawa ng combo meal. So, huwag na lang kayong gumawa ng restaurant. Joke lang. So, ganito po yung paggawa ng isang tinatawag natin na permutation tree. So, this is one example or one solution on solving kung ano yung possible combinations or possible permutations. Okay? Now, to formally define, kailangan maintindihan natin yung tinatawag natin na fundamental counting principle. Ano ba itong fundamental counting principle na ito? Bakit pa tayo meron ito? So, if a choice consists of 2 steps, the first of which can be done in m ways, and for each of these steps, a second can be done in n ways, then the number of choices that can be done is going to be m times n. So, isipin nyo, anong ginawa natin kanina sa permutation tree? Balikan natin siya. So, I have 5 burgers, and then I have 3 drinks, and then I have 4 desserts. So, ano yung nakuha natin? 60, diba? So, ilang possible burgers meron tayo? We have a possible number of 5 burgers. Ilan yung drinks natin? We had 3 drinks. At ilan yung desserts natin? 4. So, if we're going to multiply all of your choices, yan ang makukuha nating number of permutations or combinations. Okay? So, tama ba? Is 5 times 3 times 4, 60? Yes. Okay? Gets ba? So, kukuhanin lang natin yung number of possible choices and then you multiply it with the other number of possible choices. So, yun lang po yung fundamental counting principle. Okay? So, yun yan. Now, let's apply that in another type of situation. Siyempre, kailangan marami tayong examples para mas magets nyo kung anong ginagawa. Okay? So, we have the first one. In how many ways can 5 people rearrange themselves for a photo? So, paano nangyayari dito? May 5 tao ka, tapos you have a photo. So, paano tayo nagre-rearrange? Okay? So, halimbawa, nag-drawing tayo ng 5 tao. Okay? Or, gamitin na lang natin ang kanilang initials ng pangalan. Kunwari sila si A, B, C, F, D, at E. So, the first, halimbawa, nakahilera lang sila. Class picture, kunwari, 5 lang sila sa isang klase. So, A, B, C, and D. So, ganyan lang sila. So, that's one arrangement. Diba? Tapos, another arrangement would be, if hindi magbabago si A, ano yung mangyayari sa B, C, D, E? So, ang gagawin yung maglilista ka lang dyan, diba? So, it will take you a long time para maglista ng mga possible arrangements ng 5 tao. So, actually, merong easiest way or may easier way on how to do that. So, ano yun? Meron kang 5 positions, diba? And you have 5 people. So, in how many options ka dun sa first slot mo? Meron kang 5 options. Diba? Si A, pwedeng mapunta dyan ay si A, si B, si C, si D, or si E. Okay? Tapos, pagdating sa second slot, 5 pa rin ba yung choices mo? Diba hindi na? Kasi, dun sa first slot, may nakaupo na, or may nandun na. So, mapabuwasan ngayon yung choice mo. Halimbawa, si A mo nandyan, o di ilan na lang yung choices mo? Si B, si D, si E, saka si E. Okay? Nagigets ba? Nabawasan yung choice mo kasi may nakaupo na. Okay? So, may 4 choices ka na lang. On the third seat, so, occupied na si first seat, occupied na si second seat. Pagdating kay third seat, ilan na lang yung options mo? Nabawasan ulit. May nakaupo na kasi sa first na siya sa second, diba? So, 3. And so on, and so forth. Okay? So, anong gagawin natin dyan? According to the fundamental counting principle, you multiply the number of choices, right? So, multiply, 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 multiply. How many possible ways can 5 people be arranged? You multiply all of this. That's 120 ways. Diba? Imagine nyo, 5 people lang rearranging for a photo. There's a total of 120 possible ways that they can rearrange themselves. Okay ba? So, ginagamit lang natin dito ang fundamental counting principle. So, again, bakit nababawasan yung choices? Kasi, may nakaupo na dun sa first seat. Okay? Kaya siya nababawasan. Alright. Let's have another example. An ice cream sundae can be made from the following flavors. So, ito na naman tayo. Pagkain na naman tayo. No? Hindi masyadong kumahilig kumain si Ma'am, no? An ice cream sundae can be made from the following flavors. You have chocolate, strawberry, mango, ube, cheese, or vanilla. So, how many choices do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 choices. And you have 3 toppings. And then, it can also be ordered with or without whipped cream. So that's 2 choices. So according to our fundamental counting principle, how many ice cream sundaes can a customer order, or in how many ways can you mix and match these 3 things? So all we have to do is multiply these 3 numbers. So you have a total of 36 possible answers. Okay? Alright. So, para malaman natin ang total number or ang formal definition ng permutation, we have this one. Each possible arrangement in a specific situation given n objects is called a permutation. So, it's a possible arrangement in a specific situation. So, kung papansin nyo, yung word na specific, okay, may specific situation na hinahanap sa isang permutation. Okay? Now, if you have 6 plants and you wish to arrange them 4 at a time, ang itsura po niyan is like this. You read it as 6 taken 4 at a time. Okay? So, ito po yung ating mga notations. Again, you say it as 6 taken 4 at a time. So, meron kang 6 choices. Tapos, 4 lang yung pasumo or 4 lang yung kaya ng shelf mo. Okay? Bilang plantito or plantita. Meron kang 6 na plants, tapos i-arrange mo siya sa iyong mahiwagang shelf, diba? Pero, 4 lang yung kasya doon sa shelf na yun. So, paano mo silang i-arrange or how many possible combinations can you make? Alright? So, ang formula po ng permutation ay ito. So, yan. Kailangan nyo siyang tandaan. So, yan po ang permutation taken n at a time. Or sorry, n objects taken r at a time. Sorry. So, ayan yan. Permutation P. Okay? So, ano yan? Ano yung exclamation point na yan? Sumisigaw ba si N? N! Char. Okay? So, yan po yung tinatawag natin na factorial. Ginagamit po yan natin sa ating fundamental counting principle. Naalala nyo yung 5 people na nagte-take ng photo? Ano yung nangyari dun sa numbers niya? Diba? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tama? Naalala nyo? Yan po yung tinatawag natin na 5 factorial. Okay? So, ang factorial po, yan po yung ginagamit natin for permutations and for combinations. Yung combination, ma-discuss natin yan next week. But for now, let's focus on permutations. So, again, when we say factorial, ito po yung i-multiply natin yung numbers of decreasing value. So, starting with the first number, which is 5. So, ang 5 factorial po ay 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay? Alright. Now, let's have another example. So, syempre, para ma-gets natin siya at ma-use natin kagad yung ating mahiwagang formula. In a school club, there are 5 possible choices for class officers. So, meron daw 5 possible choices. Okay? Siguro 5 top students. 5 masigasig na bata. Okay? Tapos ilan yung class officers natin? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we only have 4 slots. Okay? But there are 5 people competing for those 4 slots. Assuming that all 5 of them are qualified for any position. So ibig sabihin, any of the 5 choices, pwede siya maging president, vice president, secretary, or auditor. In how many ways can the 4 officers be elected? So, hinahanap natin dito yung number of ways kung paano natin makakombine yung 5 into 4 class officers. So, how do we write that in our notation? That's going to be 5. That's our number of choices taken 4 at a time. So, going back, ano yung itsura ng ating formula? We have an n factorial divided by n minus r factorial. So, if we're going to use that same formula, ilan ang choices natin? So, that's 5 factorial over, isusubtract natin, 5 minus 4 factorial. So, if you're not familiar still with the factorial, okay lang yan. You write it out. So, 5 factorial po ay 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then, 5 minus 4, that's just 1. So, ang 1 factorial po ay basically just 1. So, all you have to do is you multiply everything on your numerator and divide it by 1. So, that's a total of 120 ways. Okay po ba? So, sana nagigets natin na. Okay. Now, let's have another example. So, dahil uso ang mga plantito at plantita, ganito na naman ang ating mahirapin example, no? May wants to rearrange 4 different pots of herbal plants and 3 different pots of ornamental plants. So, may dalawa siyang klaseng plants. Meron siyang herbal at saka ornamental. We have 4 herbal and we have 3 ornamental plants. In how many ways can she rearrange the pots in a row if? So if you notice, meron na tayong conditions that we have to satisfy. Okay, so now you have to pay attention because sometimes this is what makes the permutation a permutation. There's a specific rule or a specific condition that you have to follow. Okay? If there are no restrictions, ibig sabihin, bahala ka. Wala siyang restriction, no specific rule. So, all you have to do is actually do the fundamental counting principle. Okay? Ano yung fundamental counting? Ilan ang total na plants meron tayo? So, 4 plus 3, that's a total of 7 plants. Diba? So, using the fundamental counting principle, kung i-rearrange lang natin sila sa isang hilera, so ano yan? 7 factorial lang po yan. So, that's the answer to your first question. Ano ang 7 factorial? 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Hingal. Okay? So, hanapin natin kung ano ang 7 factorial. Siyempre, ano? Gagamit tayo ng calculator dahil mahirap. Nalaki-laki ng value na to. So, that's 42 times 120. Okay. Hey! You have 5,040 ways of rearranging your 7 plants. Diba? Imagine yung 7 halaman lang yun. Ilang ways meron? There's 5,000 ways of rearranging them. Okay? So, let's move on to the second question. The second question, the same variety of plants are together. So, paano natin gagawin yan? The same variety of plants are together. May biglang restriction. So, anong gagawin natin dyan sa restriction na yan? Isipin nyo, let's visualize. Kailangan ganito itsura niya. You have 4 herbal plants, diba? Tapos, you have 3 ornamental plants. So, ito yung one possible way. Now, the other possible way is you have all of the ornamental plants dito sa left naman. Tapos, lahat naman ng herbal plants yung nasa right. Okay? So, syempre, this is not it. Hindi lang dalawang combination yan. Kasi, within each group of plants, pwede silang mag-rearrange. Tama? There's a certain number of ways that you can multiply them. Tama? So, or rearrange them. So, kay herbal, how many ways can you rearrange the herbal plants? So, that's 4 slots for herbal plants. That's 4 factorial. Okay? And then, the ornamental plants naman, that's 3 slots, 3 plants. There are 3 factorial ways on how you can rearrange that. Now, since yung entire group na yan, ito, yung all the herbals and all the ornamental plants, ilang beses mo silang pinagpalit? Diba, dalawa lang naman. So, there's 2 options lang. It's either all the herbals on the left and all the ornamentals on the right, or vice versa. Nagsuswitch na sila na places. So, times 2. Yan ang maganda sa fundamental counting principle. Mag-multiply lang tayo ng possible choices natin. So, sana nakasunod po There were 4 ways on how we arranged the herbals. There's 3 factorial ways on how we can arrange the ornamentals. And then, itong 2 factorial, nanggaling po yan dun sa 2 ways kung paano natin marirearrange yung each group. So, nasa right, yung as I said kanina, nasa right yung ornamentals, nasa left yung herbals, and vice versa. Okay? So, that's how you solve this specific situation. Okay? So, gagawin lang natin, multiply lang natin yan. So, you have 4 factorial times 3 factorial times 2 factorial. Okay? Ang 4 factorial po natin ay 24. Ito po ay 6. Ito po ay 2. So, that's 24 times 12. It's a total of 288 ways. Okay? So, that is just for problem number 2. Now, we have our last problem. So, problem number 3. The plants are alternately placed. Ang sabihin ng alternately placed, you have ganito. Let's have, sorry, naubusan kasi tayo ng slides. Ito-duplicate ko lang to. Okay. We can resume. So, nasa third question, sabi alternate. So, ibig sabihin, start ka sa herbal, ornamental, herbal, ornamental, herbal, ornamental, herbal. Okay? Bakit hindi pwedeng unahin yung ornamental? O sige, ano ba mangyayari kapag inuna mo yung ornamental? Ornamental, herbal, ornamental, herbal, ornamental, herbal. May ornamental ka pa ba? Wala na, di ba? You have 4 herbal plants. So, hindi na siya alternating kasi may magkatabi. Okay? So, that's why you should start with the herbal plants. Okay? So, ito yung arrangement niya. Okay? So, paano natin ito isosolve? So, isipin nyo, for the first slot, ilan ang possible herbal plants natin? 4, diba? So, there's 4 choices over there. Next, ornamental. Ilan ang ornamental natin? 3. So, pagdating mo sa third seat or sa third slot, 4 pa rin ba yung choices mo? Hindi na, diba? Kasi nailagay mo ng isa dun sa first slot. So, nabawasan na siya. Ornamental, same thing. Hindi na siya 3. 2 na lang. And so on. And so forth. So, this is now the number of choices that you have. If you notice, hindi sila nilagay ng factorial kasi I'm just listing down the number of choices per slot. Okay? So now, all we have to do, according to the fundamental counting principle, is multiply everything. So if we're going to multiply everything, this is just 56, and then this is 4. That's a total of 144. ways. So if you notice, nagbabago yung number of ways, diba? Kasi it depends on the rule or the specific situation. So ganun po ang permutation. We have a certain set of rules and conditions that we have to follow na nagpapabago dun sa number of ways that we get the answer. Okay? Alright, so medyo mahaba yung video natin ngayon. Papasensyahan nyo na, medyo intense yung topic natin kasi this week. So, we have a certain number of permutations that I'd like to discuss. These are special types of permutations na may special restrictions for each problem. Okay? So, dito muna tayo sa distinguishable permutations. Ano ba tong distinguishable permutations? Find the number of permutations for the letters of the word even. So, if you notice, there are two letter E's. Okay? So, bakit kailangan nating pansinin that there are two letter E's? Well, mga anak, kasi that would make it a distinguishable permutation. Okay? If kapag sinabi natin na each letter is distinct, or ibig sabihin, this E is different from the second E, yung tinatawag natin distinct, then madali lang yan. All we have to do is 4 factorial. Okay? Kasi 4 letters. In how many ways can we rearrange 4 letters? Okay? Diba? So that's just 4 factorial. However, if in this case na hindi sila distinct, ibig sabihin, we have to take into account na dalawa talaga yung E. Okay? So, kung dalawa talaga yung E, mababago po yung ating formula. Okay? So, para makuha natin yung rearrangement niya, we have to take yung ito muna. We have yung possible combinations muna natin. So, that's 4 taken 4 at a time, and then we're going to divide that with yung number of naulit na letters. So, yung naulit natin na letters ay dalawa, diba? So, ilan yung permutation niya? Dalawang options. So, that's just 2 factorial. So, ito na po yung ating bagong formula for this type of problem. So, you will list down first yung if they are distinct, and then you're going to divide it by yung mga naulit na letter. Okay? So, let's see. What is 4 taken 4 at a time? That's just 4 factorial. And then, you're going to divide it by 2 factorial. Hey, pwede tayong mag-cancel. How many ways? We only have 12 ways. Okay? To rearrange. Assuming that the two E's are not distinct, or they are the same. Ulit lang talaga siya. Ganun talaga. Okay? So, let's apply it to another situation. Paano naman kung we are looking for the permutations in the word statistics? Okay? So, syempre, kailangan unahin muna natin. Ilan yan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 letters. Taken 10 at a time. However, may mga naulit tayo, di ba? Ano yung mga naulit natin? So, S. We have 3 S's. T. We have 3 T's. And then, I's. We have 2 I's. So, since these are all repeating, we're going to divide that 10 factorial with these 3 things. 3 factorial for the S, 3 factorial for the T, and 2 factorial for the I. Okay? So, significantly mababawasan talaga yung permutations natin na magagawa. Okay? So, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yun siya kasya. Isog natin ng konti. Para mapagkasya natin siya. 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Di-divide natin siya by a 3 factorial. It's technically a 9 or a 6, sorry. It's a 6. Another factorial, that's another 6. And then a 2 factorial, which is just 2. So, pwede tayong mag-cancel out. Cancel out. Tapos, wala na, yun lang. Siguro pwede natin gawin is yung 6 at saka yung 3 at saka ito. Pabawasan lang natin siyang isa. Okay? So, what are you left with? You are left with a 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, and 2. So, this is just 10. This is 90. 90 times 10, that's 900. 8 times 7, that's 56. 900. O, diba? Ang dami. 900 times 56. That's a total of 50,400 ways. Sabihin niyo, ma'am, bakit napakarami niyan? 10 letters tayo. So, marami talaga siyang possible combinations. Or sorry, permutations. Okay? Alright. So, yan po yung tinatawag natin na distinguishable permutations. And then, of course, our last one is yung tinatawag natin na circular permutation. So, dahil siya tinatawag na circular permutation because it's in a circle. So, yun lang yun. And how many ways can 8 people be seated in a circular table? So, diba, may circular table tayo. Tapos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Medyo nalayo yung isa. So, how many ways can we rearrange these people? So, ang formula po natin for a circular permutation is n-1 factorial. Bakit kaya n-1? Kasi remember, it's a circle. Okay? So, sabihin, yung endpoint ng isa ay pwede siyang hindi na siya pwedeng maulit. So, mababawasan lang tayo ng isang option, kumbaga. Tumama siya. So, ang formula natin for circular permutations is n-1 factorial. So, 80 people. So, that's 8 minus 1 factorial. That is 7 factorial. So, 7 factorial po ay 5,040 ways. Okay? So, ganun na siya. Madali lang si circular permutation. All you have to do is n minus 1 factorial. Right? So, yun lamang po. Maraming salamat for sticking around. I know this was a heavy lesson at ang haba-haba ng video na to, but I really hope you reached this far. And I hope you learned something from me. I hope you learned something new from me today. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye!